Hi, Madison. How you doing? Okay, so we have, let's see, any feedback is appreciated. Absolutely, of course. It's my pleasure to provide you with ample feedback. So let's jump over here. So you have a good introduction, so to remind your viewer exactly what is happening here and what we're looking at. So that's fantastic. I think you're off to a great start. There's a couple of comments I have. Now, I think the most obvious and the main thing is that you've developed these contour lines or these hard lines associated with your letter forms, right? But right now, there's no typographic color. There's no stems associated with some of these letters, specifically letters that have closed counters, right? So, I mean, I'm not real sure if you're saying that. Okay, so will these be black if you want to present these? I mean, are these completely black, or is this how the typeface is intended on being presented? And if so, does it have enough contrast? And I say probably not. So in other words, if this is the typeface here, if we go ahead and change the color to blue or red or something, and then we decrease the size, aren't these strokes going to get lost? You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm wondering if this is the complete typeface. There's no counters, closed counters, like for example, the closed part of the D or the hole in the A's. Where are they? And once they're there, can you assign a color black to your letter forms? Do you see what I'm saying? Because right now, if you fill these, you've just got the contour lines with a stroke color assigned to it. So once you select these and go to your fill color and fill these with black, that's going to be too dense because there's no open counter, right? It's going to be really super dense. The D, the A, and the A are going to be so visually weighty that they're going to take a lot of the attention away from the other letter forms, and I don't think we're going to have this kind of symbiotic relationship between negative space and the elements in themselves, the elements that consist of the letter forms. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's not going to be a good even distribution of weight because these will be so dense. Do you see what I'm saying? So what I would recommend moving forward is to get your counters in place in here, all right? And then make sure your strokes are consistent, because right now you've got this really heavy stroke over here on the right side of the A. On the left-hand side of the A, it's almost minuscule. So as again, I'm just not real sure how that will pan out. The next recommendation is take your letter forms. I think other than that, you're looking good. You got some good consistency between the baseline and the mean line, so that's good. All of your letter forms are relatively the same size. There's a couple of things that you can do, and I think this is really going to help. Is right now you've kind of identified what's happening here with your different letter forms, right? But you haven't really told us how you can use those areas to build different letter forms and additional letter forms. All right. So, for example, let me see. So what areas of these letter forms can be used to create additional letter forms? So, for example, you could take theoretically this little terminal right here and the terminal for the U should be identical, right? So and any other letter form, the terminal for the L, that could be identical as well. So you could go in here and say, okay, I'm using this terminal right here for the terminals on all my lowercase letters, and then show how that terminal could be duplicated for the terminal on the U as well as the lowercase L. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to do two things for your resubmission. Not your resubmission. You don't have to resubmit here, but for your final submission, you don't have to resubmit for the task unless you want to. If you want to, I'm glad to provide further comments. But for your final submission for this milestone is make sure you get your counters in place. Okay, those are the holes in the letters, right? They're A, and D. And then make sure you establish a color. So if that's black, make sure it's black, okay, with everything filled in black once you get that counter in place. Next thing is to decide what areas of your letter forms can be duplicated and used again in the creation of additional letter forms. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So another example would be this area right here. This vertical stem for the lowercase u. Could that be used for vertical stem for lowercase letters that have a descender? Okay, so in other words, if this were a P, could we use that for the P and just continue this along and then then start the P again over here. See what I'm saying? So really just want to complete the letter forms, fill in the open counters, fill this with color so that we can get an idea of the weight distribution, and then go through and determine which parts of the letter forms can be used to duplicate and to use to create additional letter forms. All right, hope that makes sense. Other than that, great start. I really like the form a lot. I think this is a really super interesting approach, and I think there's a lot of good consistencies going on here, and I think it's going to be something that definitely has some great characteristics and wonderful qualities for which to move forward. So take care of those things for your resubmission. I think if you have any questions at all or need any clarification, just please let me know. All right, good job. Thank you.